Welcome to day 23 of 30 Days of Yoga. Today I'm going to work on some balancing poses for you and just really show you the different types of balancing poses that you can be doing and working on, because I know some people struggle a lot with balancing. So let's start off by standing with our feet nice and firmly planted. Spread out those toes. Really make sure you're on all four corners. So if you kind of tilt forward a little bit, your toes grip into the mat, you can feel how the balls of your foot are connecting. If you come back onto your heels, you can feel how they are connecting all the way to the right and then all the way to the left. Good. And now really just try and find that center of gravity. Everyone's is a little bit different. And again, depending on your body structure, your body type, you'll find that it's a little bit, sometimes even depending on your thoughts or your mood that day, your balance will be set off a little bit. So find your balance for today. Really try and ground out. If you need to have a chair with you or if you need to have a wall close by, make sure you pause the video and go get situated. But what we're going to do is we're going to start in our stork pose, which is our simple inhaling your arms up. You're bringing your knee in and then you're grabbing onto your knee. So you can either just hold it here and just keep that leg up, really strengthening that quadricep. Or you can pull it in, again, if your balance is good today, you can pull it in a little bit closer. You can roll the ankle if you need to. And then you can release that side. We'll do it on the left side here. Inhale. Again, just keeping that thigh parallel to the floor if you can. Arms out. If you want to clasp your fingers, going a little bit deeper stretch, you can bring your knee right into your chest. Good, and releasing down. So the first pose that we're going to do is Eagle's Pose. Again, we've done all these poses before, but I'm just going to break them down a little bit for you today. So you're going to take your left foot, you're going to cross it over top of your right leg. I think the last time we did this with weights in our hands. So this one's going to be a lot easier. So you're going to take your left arm and you're going to have it 90 degrees and you're going to swoop your right arm up underneath. So you've got your palms, if you can bring them to touching, you've got your palms touching. If you can't get your palms touching, back of your hands are fine to put that close together here. So whatever is comfortable for you. You want to lift your elbows up and away from your chest and bring your hands away from your face. So now we've got our arms situated, our legs situated. You can leave it right here if this is enough for you. It's stretching out your upper back. It's giving you a little bit of a stretch in your left side there. Or you start to bend your knees and slowly start to come down into a squat pose. You're going to engage your core. And now again, you're going to keep your chest lifted and you can keep it right here, keeping that toe on the ground if you need to. Or you can start to lift the toe off the ground. And again, core is engaged, tailbone is tucked under slightly. Find a spot to focus on. It makes it a lot easier when you're looking at one spot. And for that final step, you can wrap that foot around the calf and get really bound up here. Again, being careful. If you feel like you're going to fall or come out of the pose, just gently come out. Don't try and hold until you fall over. And then we're going to slowly start to unwrap our pretzel and roll the shoulders. We'll do that on the other side. So right foot's going to come across with the big toe touching the ground. Right arm is going to come up. Left arm is going to sweep up underneath. Palms or back of the hands touching. You're going to slowly start to bend your knees and really wrap yourself in as tight as you can. Your elbows are lifted, your hands are away from your face. You can wrap that foot around. One side you might be able to, the other side maybe not. Finding your focus and make sure to tuck that tailbone, lengthen the spine and breathe. Good, let's release, coming up. So that's your Eagle Pose. It's a great standing pose to practice. Really opens up your shoulders, gets deep into your hips, a nice internal rotation there. Now we're going to go into Tree Pose. So 3 spots you can place the inside of your foot. You can be on the ground with your heel on your ankle. You can place it on the inside of your shin, or you can go above the knee onto the inside of your thigh. And the reason I say above the knee is because you don't want to put any pressure on the knee, pushing it out to the side. We want to be above or below the knee at all times. So we're going to open up this hip. So this is a hip opening. balancing pose, and we're going to square off those hips. So this left hip, because my left leg is up, my left hip wants to kind of raise up, you're going to square them off. And making sure you find your center of balance. You relax your shoulders, and when you've found that wonderful spot where you feel like you can hold it, you're going to inhale, your arms can come out to the side like an airplane. They can come straight up in the air, shoulders apart. If you have any shoulder issues, this might be the one for you. Or you can bring palms together, trying to get your arms as straight as they can, and your biceps beside your ears or even behind your ears if you can. Trying to relax the shoulders though. I don't want you all hunched up in your shoulders. I want you to relax the shoulders, lift in the chest, keeping the rib cage down, engage the core. Excellent, and then you can slowly start to release. Let's do that on the other side. Same thing, find the placement, and maybe one side you can bring it up to the thigh and the other side you can't. Maybe you have a knee injury or a hip injury or pain. So really find what works for you. It's not always going to be even from one side to the next. So again, square those hips off, find your balance. Good, once you've found it, you're going to find your arm placement, whatever works best on this side. Engage your core, breathing deeply. Good, one more deep breath here. And relax and release it down. So from these poses, you can obviously go into other ones. I've shown you before how if we straighten our leg out, we can bring our leg out to the side. So this just really starts to open you up, but that's the basic tree and eagle pose for you. So now let's go into our warrior three. And again, warrior three is more of a closed hip, just like our eagle pose. And that's the one where if you're starting on a forward fold, you might need a block or a book or something else to rest on, to rest your hands on to start. And you really are trying to find your T pose. So that right leg is going to lift, really grounding that left foot. And again, you can hold it just like this, trying to keep your right hip square to the ground. When you're feeling strong or you're feeling like you can balance, use your core, really lift in that spine, lift in that core. You can airplane your arms out to the side, or you can finish the pose by bringing your arms out in front, either palms apart or palms touching, and breathe deeply. And if you're not able to go all the way into a T, and this is as far as you can go, just make sure you have a straight line from your fingertips all the way down to your toes. And then you can come up, bring your hands to heart. So you can go into it by bending forward and lifting up, or you can try, if you're feeling really strong, ground that right foot, come back onto that left toe. You can even reach your arms up and start from here. And slowly really engage your quadricep, engage your core, start to tilt, keeping that left hip square to the floor, reaching long, breathing deep. And then slowly coming up. So that's our warrior three pose. Now, the next one I'm going to show you is dancer's pose. And we did this one actually the other day, I think, where we used the strap to help if we needed to. So you can use the strap again if you want to grab that, wrap it around your foot, or you can just go in using your hand if you feel like you can reach with your hand by itself. So you're going to go into a nice quadricep stretch. Most of us have done this pose before in gym class, or if you're a runner, or if you've done any type of sports. A lot of the times we've got our quadricep stretch. So you want to make sure your quadricep is nice and stretched out. So you may just want to hold it here. Again, finding your balance. So you want to find a spot. If you need the wall or the chair. I like to flex my foot, and then you're slowly, same thing as the warrior three where you can tilt forward. You're going to start to tilt forward. You're going to keep your chest lifted though, and you're really just going to try and lift that leg up. So you're not coming all the way forward like you did in warrior three. You're trying to keep your chest lifted and lift that back leg up. Some people like to hold on to the outside of the leg, but I find that the knee wants to come out. I like it actually where you hold on to the inside of the foot. And then when you bring that leg up and back, your knee tends to stay underneath you and in. And then you can raise your arm up into a beautiful dancer's pose. Everyone's dancer looks very different. Some people are much more flexible than I am, and other people are going to hold it just like this. There's a lot of varying degrees, so you find what's your degree today. Let's do it on the other side, even ourselves out a little bit. So again, bringing your foot up and putting your ankle into your wrist, holding it here, nice quad stretch, making sure you're really stretching your knee pointing down and away. Now if you want to switch your hand around so that it's grabbing the inside of your ankle, as long as that's okay for your shoulder to be able to do that as well, and that's where the strap may come in handy. You're going to slowly keep that chest lifted, start to lean forward slightly, lift that back leg up, lift the front arm. Keep breathing. And release. Excellent. So those, we've done our warrior two, we've done our warrior three, we've done our dancer, our eagle, our tree. The next one will be our half moon pose. So those two were just more of keeping your hips internally rotated, keeping them, and this one that we're going to do now, the warrior, this one, the half moon pose, is going to be where your hips are going to open up. So for half moon, I like to go into triangle pose, and then from there go into my half moon pose. So I'm going to place my left foot facing out. My right foot is going to be turned in slightly, just like we're going into our triangle pose. Remember, triangle is one where we're tilting forward and coming up at an angle here. So in this pose, again, if you need your block nearby, you're going to put your block probably a few inches on the outside of your foot and about half a foot up. And what you're going to do is you can come into your triangle pose if you'd like, keeping your hip open, your chest open, your arm open. You're going to bend that front knee, coming up on that back toe a little bit, and placing your hand on the block. Now you might need to adjust the block depending on where you're going to need it, but what you're going to do is keep that chest lifted, keep that body twisted open, the hip is going to be open, and you're slowly going to start to straighten that leg, the bottom leg, and open up into our half moon. And then the better you get at this pose, you may not need the block anymore. So you'll start to lower down as you need to. You might need the block up a little higher, totally up to you, but you're really trying to accentuate opening that hip, opening those ribs, really lifting. You might want it out a little bit more as well. Again, just find wherever your balance is and whatever works best for you. You want to bend maybe in that base leg slightly, and then slowly dropping it back down. Let's switch to the other side. So now your right foot is going to be facing away from you. Your left foot is going to be turned in. Legs are going to be straight with a micro bend in both knees. Arms coming out, reaching forward, going into your triangle, but then bending that knee and reaching forward for your block, coming up on that back toe, really opening up your hip and your chest, and then lifting up with that base leg, nice and tall, chest lifts. Excellent. Keep breathing here. You don't want to be adjusting the block in the middle of your pose because that might make you fall. You can always come down out of it. You can move the block. You can experiment with not having it or moving it to a different position, and then going from there. Excellent. So let's come up now. So we've gone through the basic standing balancing poses. There's a lot more out there, but those are the basic ones that I want you to start off with, and once we get good at those, then we can go on to the more difficult ones. Let's come down onto our knees on the mat. And again, if you're not wanting to practice that half moon right up like that, you can be doing it down on your knees. So we did this one last week where we basically placed our hand down from a kneeling position, our other leg came out, and then you do your half moon modified like this. So again, you're still getting a good balance, you're still working on the muscles, you're still using the core, the leg, the shoulder, everything is still working, but a little bit easier. And then again, we can switch to the other side, placing the right leg out, left arm down, and lifting up. on to the other side. Really reaching. Good. Coming down into our table pose now. Our balancing table that we can be doing as well. Sometimes we can use this as a warm-up, but it's an easier pose to be able to start working on your balance, working on your core, where you're going to inhale your right arm and left leg coming out, really grounding that left palm of your hand, the left knee, the right knee and right foot are nice and grounded, lifting out of your shoulder and your hip, and releasing. Let's take our left arm and our right leg out now. Again, engaging your core. Feeling it strengthen. No pinching in your back here. And release. Another type of balancing pose that we can work on is our plank, side plank posing. So this is technically, could be considered a balancing pose, right? You have to have good balance. It's a little bit more of a stable pose. But now if we rotate onto our left side, this becomes a little bit more of a difficult balancing pose. And to go a little bit deeper, you can lift up that leg. You can try and grab on and open. So there's lots of different ways to go into different poses and really practice going a little bit deeper in each of the poses. So if it's not as much of a challenge for you doing it the regular way, you might need to modify it, make it a little easier. You might need to add something to it, make it a little bit more difficult. Whatever you feel that you need to do. And then coming back down. Some of the other more difficult balancing poses are the arm balancing poses. We're not going to go into those today, but there are some that again, you build yourself up to once you feel good with those regular standing or even kneeling balancing poses. Then we can go into the arm balances. We really need to create some strength in your shoulders, but it's not just about strength and core. It's about finding that center of gravity and really working with that to help you get the lift and the balance that you need. So now we can go into whatever type of relaxation that we would like today. You can go into your corpse pose, you can go into your legs up the wall, whatever is comfortable for you today. Make sure you take the next few minutes just to relax, maybe practice a few more balances, and we will see you tomorrow for some restorative yoga. Have a beautiful and balanced day. Namaste.